there don't appear to be any huge surprises in these memos. I've had a chance to speed read them, so I don't exclude the possibility that there's something I've missed. But to me, one of the key moments, besides where there are a few areas where he's grappling directly with policy, which of course is something that he is not supposed to be doing, most notably around the provision for soldiers in Iraq, and also then very detailed stuff on agriculture, which you would expect on an integrated medicine, two of his big hobby horses. My favourite moment is where he actually says, and I'll read it to you, there's a moment of high comedy. He's writing to Tony Blair and he says, "You kindly suggested that it would be helpful if I put," and he's referring to some ideas, "in writing, despite the Freedom of Information Act."
Yes.
So he actually, this has been an issue for him, attention all the time, about how much he could do and how much he could do behind the scenes, and about the perception of neutrality versus his desire to be really useful in the role that he occupies.
But listening to that statement from Clarence House, one has to reflect, presumably, that of course he meets lots of interesting people, and of course he has a great source of information for a government. So does the Queen, but as far as we know, the Queen doesn't do this, and this will be his job if he becomes monarch of the country. So that's the problem, isn't it?
Sort of, except that the Queen, of course, has her weekly meetings with the Prime Minister. So the moment that Prince Charles ascends to the throne, if he outlives his mother, he'll be in a position of being able to bend the ear of the Prime Minister of the day on a weekly basis, and therefore...
But not in writing?
Well, not in writing, and in fact unminuted, and it's the one thing that almost never leaks, unless the Prime Minister leaks it.
Which would be another kind of row. But do you think this will actually inhibit him? I mean, that rather wry reference to the Freedom of Information Act, he obviously wrote these things not intending them for publication. That's why his people fought against the publication. And it does change things, doesn't it, if you feel that anything you may do that's on paper will be published? Well,
one thing is that the government's already making noises about closing down the option for this to come out in future, and they have in fact already the law has changed. The Guardian managed to get in a window to request these letters. That window has now been shut. But the other thing, the bigger point, is that he has for years known in a sense that he maybe shouldn't be doing some of the things that he does because people will criticise him, people will say that it's interfering. But he feels so passionately, he is such an ideologue, he is such a believer in the things that he is promoting, that he is pretty much incapable of simmering down, and he would say that what he's doing is much more important than, maintaining this stiff role.